Welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So Joanne, what should we cover tonight?
Well, I have some employees that will incur expenses that they pay by credit card when they travel. How do I handle that in AP?
Okay, that's a good topic. We can walk through all those transactions, creating the first invoice, paying by credit card, and then even putting the credit card invoice into the system that you'll ultimately pay by check. So we can step through all of that if you want. That'd be
Okay. Well, first of all, are there any things I have to set up ahead of time to do this?
a couple of things. I can point out a couple of things.
Great.
Okay. The first thing you'd want to do is in your general ledger. What I typically do is you would set up a credit card account. Normally it would be a liability account. It's just a credit card clearing account because what ultimately is going to happen is when you put in that first invoice, you want to expense the charge at that point.
Okay.
When you pay by credit card, you don't want the impact to be cash. You want the impact to be a liability because you're not taking the money out of your account at that point.
Right.
And then when you submit the credit card invoice, you would then offset with this credit card clearing account. So that's all it is. It's really just a pass-through.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing would be in Cashbook. You can set up a bank account called, credit card clearing, American Express, however you want to code it. The key here is putting the general ledger account mapped to that credit card clearing.
Okay.
Okay, so if you set it up 3035, you can point that here.
Okay.
Okay. And then I will just show you two suppliers that I have set up just to illustrate this a little bit. I've got a Hess Gas account set up, and this is the supplier where an employee might buy something with a credit card.
Okay.
All right, so the GL code we have set up here would be the actual expense code, okay, the utilities or whatever it might be.
Okay.
Okay, and then we would set up also an American Express supplier, and this one we'd point to that credit card clearing account. Okay, so that when that invoice comes in, it's going to automatically pull this account here.
Okay.
Okay?
Makes sense.
Sure. Okay?
All right. Now, how do I record the invoice? So I have a employee that comes back and he's incurred some expenses, and I want to invoice these. How do I do that?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that would be the first step. Okay, so that would be the invoice to, in this particular case, Hess Gas. Okay, so I'll grab this supplier here, invoice number. I'll add a line item. Notice that my expense GL code comes in. We'll just call it $100. Hit OK. All right, so this would be the initial invoice documenting the expense.
Okay.
Okay, so an employee goes to the gas station, they fill up the van, they go to Home Depot or Lowe's for office supplies. Okay, you can just put that invoice in like that. You want to hit the actual expense code at that point.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point I'll save and post this invoice like normal. Okay, now when I go to make the payment, okay, now this is where I'm going to switch off of my typical bank account and I'm going to make that be credit card. The key here is that you don't want to credit cash because you're paying by credit card, so you want it to hit that credit card clearing account.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll save my payment. We're obviously picking the invoice from Hess Gas. It's going to be $100. Grab that invoice, and of course we just save and post this. Paying by credit card, and save and post this payment just as we normally would. Okay?
Okay.
Okay?
Now, what do I do when my American Express bill comes in and I need to pay that? How do I do that transaction?
Okay. All right, so that in that particular case, the invoice at that point would be from American Express. So I'm going to pull in that supplier, invoice number. And notice now when I add a line item, it's pulling in the credit card clearing. So if you remember when we made the payment on the first transaction, we credited this account. So this invoice is actually going to relieve that liability.
Okay.
Okay. And I want to code this for $100. Okay, so that's going to relieve the liability. Now, a couple of wrinkles with this is you may have some other charges on this credit card invoice that may be additional from what the users have already charged. You can just add separate line items here and record those charges.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's something else on the statement, such as interest charges or other things, you can just record a separate line item here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay? I'll just keep this example simple, save it, and post it as normal. And then when you do this last payment, of course, you're going to be drawing it from your checking account. So when I add this payment, I'm going to leave it to my, the operating account. Okay. And at this point, we're going to be paying American Express $100. And my payment method in this particular instance is going to be check. And of course, I can grab my next available check number. And we're picking that invoice. Okay, save and post,
Okay,
just
great.
as normal. Okay, makes sense?
That makes sense. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Nope, I think you've answered everything.
good. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward to more to come.